So hi, my name is Emma Wardropper. I'm a mindfulness teacher and a psychotherapist. Previous to being self-employed, I used to work at Capital One in Nottingham for 16 years in a HR function. And whilst I was working there, I trained up as a psychotherapist to link back to a psychology degree I did a long time ago now, and to really see people on a one-on-one basis to help with various different mental health problems, anxiety, stress, depression. And during the time as my training, I was also introduced to mindfulness. So mindfulness has made a massive impact to my life, so much so that I decided to train to teach in it. And now I lead courses in the corporate world and to the general public on mindfulness and how people can bring it into their lives. And I'm so pleased that there is now, for quite a few years, a mental health awareness week, because our mental health, or our emotional well-being, I often even like to call it, is just so important. I think from a young age we're taught, aren't we, that we need to get enough sleep, we need to eat the right food, we need to exercise, but we're rarely taught how to look after our heads, which are really fundamentally the most important thing that are with us for life. So generally, I think in life in general, it's really important for us to look after our mental health and keep ourselves well. The type of psychotherapy background I come from is all about how we need to keep our emotional needs in balance. So we all have physical needs like food and water and shelter, but we have emotional needs, so we need to feel connected to people, we need to feel safe and secure, we need to feel stretched, we need to feel we give meaning and purpose. And we get so many of those needs from the workplace, which is so helpful. But it's also helpful that we need to keep them in balance and remember that we're people as a whole, so we're at work and at home, and things that happen at home can affect us at work and vice versa. So I think to me it's really important and great that workplaces help us look after our mental health. I mean, they say now 1 in 3 people at some stage in their life will have some sort of mental health condition. That to me is only the people that report it, so I'd say it's getting closer to 2 in 3, or everyone at some point in their life, whether it just be mild day-to-day stress or something that gets more serious like anxiety or depression. So yes, it's so important. I think there's a number of ways that people can help with general mild stress, such as exercising regularly, eating the right diet, fresh fruit and veg and things, just getting out the office and getting fresh air and being with nature a lot more, getting the right amount of sleep, connecting with people, socialising, getting good balance between work and home life. There's all those things that I think one of the being trained in mindfulness now, and it is something that I will do for the rest of my life because it's had such a significant impact on me, is mindfulness and being more in the present moment is so helpful for our mental health, which is great while workplaces are starting to introduce it, which is brilliant. Yeah, I think it's definitely getting more and more talked about now, which is great. And like I say, with this thing, 1 in 3, 2 in 3, everyone at some point in their life, it's just to talk about things and for people to be open if they can with colleagues and managers and things. I think it's great when some leadership share stories perhaps about their own mental health and things. So yeah, and just it is something that should just be talked about because we all really want to just be happy. So it's really helpful for just getting it out there in the open and for companies to support that. So. It's all definitely the more mild, I suppose, day-to-day stress of just life's being busy nowadays. So I think life's are busy with work. We've got I come from a very busy work environment beforehand, but life's are just generally busy in terms of digital technology and things. I think it's great all this technology that we've got, but we're constantly switched on, aren't we? We've got phones with emails and WhatsApps and texts, and it's constant being switched on. So to me, we need to be more in control of how we use that technology rather than it using us, which is where I think mindfulness can really help. And to just take more pauses really in our day. So things like, everyone sort of knows this, but we don't often do it, not eating your lunch at your desk, going out for a walk, getting out in the fresh air, even just 5 minutes. not working too long hours, and looking after yourself more. All these things are so important, because ultimately stress is one of the biggest killers, and it makes every physical condition worse. So if we don't look after this, it's going to really affect us. And if we start to look after it on ourselves just by making little changes like this, we can feel a lot happier, content, and live longer, really. Interesting, when I introduce what mindfulness is, I sometimes talk about the opposite of it. So if people can think about this concept of when we do things on autopilot, which we can do a lot of our lives on, so it might be something like driving, where we drive somewhere and we end up there and we can't actually remember any of the steps or what happened or anything we saw on the way, or even getting up in the morning and our routine can be very robotic and structured. So this living on autopilot to me is the opposite of mindfulness, because whilst we're living on this autopilot, we're sort of lost up in our head and lost in thinking, and this constant thinking can just be really exhausting. So mindfulness is the opposite of that, really. It's spending a few moments a day just focusing our attention on the present moment and what's happening. And the way that we do this is by connecting to any of our senses. So it might be what we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch or feel or smell or taste. The moment we bring our awareness into our senses, that's it directly in the present moment. So that's all mindfulness is. It's awareness, really. It's no long, confusing definition for it. It's just training our brains to spend more time in the moment. And to me, that's we're actually living our lives rather than thinking about them or thinking about the past that we can't change, or trying to predict and plan the future, which we can't. So just a few minutes a day for mindfulness, I'd say, is really beneficial. Stress, anxiety, and then if it gets worse, depression or addiction, all the mental health conditions, they are all caused by overthinking and fueled by thoughts. So the more that with mindfulness we can learn to train our brain to spend more time just focusing on the moment rather than being lost in thought, the less the thoughts can overtake us. So with this, I'm not saying that thinking is a bad thing, because we need to think, don't we, to do our jobs and to plan holidays and things. But it's this unhelpful thought, the chitter chatter, the why did they say that, what do they mean, what if that happens, what if that goes wrong, it can use up so much of our energy. So this is where mindfulness directly links with mental health. To me, is one of the most important ways of keeping ourselves mentally well, and it's something we can all do. It's absolutely for everybody, which is why I'm so passionate about it. So I've been into lots of different corporate environments and used it as well, obviously the general public as well, but I've seen it go into workplaces really well. So I've mentioned Capital One earlier, so they got quite into it, that they built rooms for people to do mindfulness in and meditate, sort of way of doing mindfulness throughout the day, just to give yourself the little pauses. I think to me mindfulness is all around taking more pauses in the day and stepping off the hamster wheel of life, which is we're just on and on and on. So, but yes, I've seen it working well, and at the point where you can really embed it into a company, people can help each other, and you get the word in there and people go, oh, should we do some mindfulness at the start of a meeting? If every meeting had a few minutes of mindfulness, just minutes, get so much more out of the meeting, because people are going to be focused and not bringing the last meeting to it and not thinking about their next meeting. So really, really helpful in the workplace. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So hopefully everyone's focused, listening to it and not lost in thoughts, but just simply maybe bringing your attention just to a few breaths. So just feeling the body breathe just for a few moments. Sometimes you might want to close your eyes, or if people are around you can keep your mouth, doesn't really matter, but just bringing your attention to your breath. Another way, a really quick way of doing mindfulness is it's called like breathing with your hands. So if you in breath, your hands are in, and then out breath, and just move your hands in time with your breath. So in and out. Just really centre you for a moment. So all you're doing is not changing your breath, you're just moving your hands in time with the breath. So again, it's just a really simple one, and for any of the people that are watching that have got children, it's lovely, for teaching them as well, a little skill that you can use perhaps if your children are nervous for exams or things. But I just regularly, no one knows you're doing it, just bring your attention to the breath, because we can only breathe in the present moment, so we're not thinking about the past or the future.